On January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler was officially appointed Chancellor of Germany. From the moment he took office, it took him exactly 52 days, 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, to legally, systematically dismantle the Weimar Republic. 10 years earlier, in November 1923, Hitler tried to seize power through brute force. He and his Nazi deputies launched the Beer Hall Putsch, an armed coup attempt in Munich. It failed entirely. The uprising left 15 Nazis and 4 police officers dead. Hitler was arrested for high treason and sentenced to 5 years in Landsberg prison. In that cell, he realized attempting to smash a democratic state from the outside was useless. He took what historians call a legal oath, deciding he would defeat democracy using democratic means. Hitler targeted the specific, known vulnerabilities of the democratic constitution itself. To achieve total control legally, Hitler needed to pass an Ermächtigungsgesetz, or Enabling Act. This law would allow his cabinet to pass legislation without the parliament's approval. This is the German parliament. Suspending the separation of powers required a strict 67% supermajority. By summer 1932, the Nazi Party secured 230 seats, their electoral peak, but that only accounted for 37%. Hitler was trapped by a massive 30% gap. Roughly 38% of the remaining seats were held by Social Democrats and Communists. Hitler knew he couldn't negotiate with his ideological enemies, and attempting to remove them by force risked triggering a massive strike by 6 million communist workers, which would cripple the fragile German economy. Hitler needed a way to bridge that 30% gap using the existing legal framework, all while avoiding a catastrophic civil war. As Chancellor, Hitler had the authority to assign cabinet positions. He appointed Wilhelm Frick to the Ministry of the Interior and Hermann Göring to oversee a state of Prussia, which covered 2/3 of German territory. Frick immediately used his authority to strip regional states of their rights. He issued legal bans on opposition newspapers, shutting down left-leaning publications like the Red Flag and the Forward. Meanwhile, Göring purged the Prussian state police. He replaced police chiefs with Nazi ideologues, appointed an auxiliary police force, and issued a legal shoot-to-kill order against political rivals, guaranteeing his officers they would face no consequences for using lethal force. By seizing the legal mechanisms of state enforcement, Hitler rigged the political board. His opponents were subjected to intense state-sanctioned violence, while the Nazis technically operated entirely within the bounds of their legal authority. On February 27th, exactly 4 weeks into Hitler's chancellorship, the German parliament building went up in flames. This arson case provided the exact crisis required to break the mathematical gridlock. Hitler immediately blamed the fire on communist saboteurs. Capitalizing on the public panic, he drafted an emergency bill. President Paul von Hindenburg signed it into law, legally suspending all civil rights and granting the police unlimited search and seizure authority. Using this new state of emergency, state forces targeted the political opposition directly. Thousands of communists, social democrats, and anti-Nazi journalists were arrested in their homes. They were physically removed from the political equation. When Germany held new elections on March 5th, the Nazis secured 44% of the vote. Even after suppressing their rivals, they were still well short of the 67% required to pass the Enabling Act. But this chart shows how Hitler solved the problem. The Communist Party had won 13% of the vote, but Hitler used his emergency powers to legally ban them from taking their seats. By doing so, he eliminated those seats from the denominator, shrinking the total size of the parliament and instantly moving the 67% threshold backward. If a party cannot secure the votes needed to govern, declaring a state of emergency to legally erase the opposition seats accomplishes the exact same mathematical goal. On March 23, 1933, the government convened at the Kroll Opera House, located directly across from the burned ruins of the Reichstag, to debate and vote on the Enabling Act. Inside, the atmosphere was highly controlled. Armed Nazi guards patrolled the aisles, staring down the remaining delegates. The empty seats of the arrested and exiled left-wing politicians served as a clear warning to anyone considering a no vote. Despite the risk of arrest or death, Social Democrat Otto Wels stood before Hitler. "No Enabling Act," Wels told him, "can give you the power to destroy eternal and indestructible ideas, like human and legal principles, freedom, and socialism." His resistance did not change the math. When the votes were tallied just before 8 p.m., all 94 Social Democrats voted no, but the remaining 444 members voted yes. The act passed with an 80% majority. The 52-day timer stopped. The procedural mechanisms of a free republic were executed flawlessly to ratify a totalitarian dictatorship. Hitler weaponized the Weimar Constitution's own emergency decrees and parliamentary rules to fold the system in on itself. And Joseph Goebbels, one of Hitler's chief propagandists, understood this process perfectly. He remarked, "The funniest thing about democracy is that it gives even its deadliest enemies the weapons to ensure they kill it. A legal code is merely a framework. In the hands of bad faith actors willing to exploit the letter of the law to destroy its intent, a constitution stops being a shield for the public and becomes the exact instrument used to dismantle their freedoms."